In today's video, I come to this gorgeous location to show how I take this photo. This location is in northern Spain, which I'm passing through on my European road trip. The actual location isn't something I'll try to pronounce, but it's a really cool spot that required a bit of walking to get to.
Definitely don't have perfect light on it right now. It's looking a bit flat, but was definitely promised, because if we look over here, the sun looks like it might be about to peak over this headland. It is still early, it's only about 8 a.m. and in March, I guess maybe the sun hasn't risen quite high enough to get over that headland yet. So the first shot I'm going to go for is just a classic view looking straight at the island. Let's hide that stuff. So you can see the composition that I'm going for here. I am going to increase my aperture to f8, and that is going to mean dropping my shutter speed down to about a 20th of a second. Now I've got a polarizer on here, and if I give this a twist, you can hopefully see the difference it's making in cutting out all of the glare in the sea, especially around here. See, without the polarization it looks quite white, but as soon as I turn that in, you can see how much it darkens it down. So having that circular polarizer is super important often for seascapes like this. Autofocus, tap to focus. So I've slightly switched it up with a vertical composition now. So instead of trying to eliminate this foreground, I'm actually really going to try and use this in the scene. It's not looking particularly lush right now, and we have got these sort of like plastic temporary sort of sleeves that they use for tree planting, which I don't mind photoshopping out because they are man-made. They've been put there temporarily. You know, if you came back in 6 months, they probably wouldn't be there. So things like that, typically I don't mind photoshopping out. If it were actual like fencing and signage that it's always going to be there, that is usually when I will leave something in place. Anyway, the shot that I'm looking at right now then, as you can see, as you can sort of see, is looking straight down on the island. It's a great view because we've got the walkway as like a nice leading line towards it. I've twisted my polarizer to make sure that that sea is nice and dark, and I think this is a good looking shot. Settings wise though, I'm going to have to change things up because the island is quite dark but the sky is quite bright, and I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally overexposing the sky. So what I'm actually going to do is take a shot at f8 and 25th of a second for the island. I'm getting less confident that we're going to get light coming in from over this headland now. If anything, the clouds are moving in and it's not looking that great. So the other thing I'm going to do is pop on a neutral density filter, and I'm going to do a long exposure. So I'm really thinking that the cloud movement here, the movement of the water, we could end up getting a bit more of a ethereal looking sort of long exposure style smoothing. I'm just using words at this point. I'm really tired, but you know the sort of shot I mean. Something that's not necessarily supposed to be a pin-sharp, accurate representation of the scene. And because we haven't got amazing light, we haven't got amazing colors coming in and contrast, trying to do something that's a little bit more abstract by using those long exposures can be a good way of getting a shot, even when the conditions aren't necessarily working to your advantage. So with that, I'm going to take my aperture up to f16 and my shutter speed much lower, down to a 1/6 of a second. And in fact, firstly, I'm going to make sure that my polarizer is still polarizing just at that point there. And then I'm going to see if I can turn that neutral density filter down even more, because it is variable. Yes, right now it's at 2, but I don't want to move my circular polarizer. So I'm doing this very carefully. Cool. So now it's right down at 5. And if I take my aperture all the way up to f22, I can take my shutter speed all the way down to 5 seconds. So because I'm shooting wide and I've got filters on, you can just see the slight vignetting where it's basically getting them in frame. Now obviously just zooming in slightly could fix that, but I might just fix it in post. Now you know what? Let's just do a little bit now so that it's there. So F22, 5 seconds. In fact, you know what? 6 seconds. What I really want is a proper long exposure, maybe a couple of minutes, to get amazing smoothness in the water, smoothness in the clouds. But I don't have a 10 stop or a 15 stop ND. I've only got whatever this is, 5 stops. So it's not letting me get a longer shutter speed than 6 seconds, even F22. That's a bit of a shame. Now I could always just try combining those images. You can take sort of multiple 6-second ones and then blur that into one shot, but I don't always find it works quite as well as I'd like it to. So I'm gonna have to just put up with what I've got, but 6 seconds is enough to give some nice motion to the water, smoothing out some of those waves. And moving on from that viewpoint, and I'm actually going to take the path that leads down closer to the church. I don't think I've got all that long here, to be honest now, because I think what little light there was has closed up. We've got quite dark clouds over the whole scene. I'm wondering if it's going to get very rainy very soon. I don't really want to get caught out in that. Don't want to get my kit wet, don't want to get my clothes wet. I've still got quite a few hours of driving to do today. However, I do want to try and capture some more photos of it while I'm here, and maybe with some brooding dark clouds overhead, we can get some very dramatic shots. Sorry if I sound so out of breath. It's because I am, but I've been sort of half running up and down these pathways. Trying not to slip, but also trying to make the most of every single minute that I'm here, because it is only a brief window. Of course, I'm rushing down these steps right now. It does mean I've got to then get all the way back up, which is less fun, but at least I won't be in quite so much of a hurry. Unless, of course, it's hammering down with rain, in which case I'll be in a big hurry. But actually, I think it is one of the most important things that I have found on these road trips, is that you do have to absolutely maximize every minute you can when you've got the opportunity. I've been moaning that all I've been doing is spending 10 hours behind the wheel of the car, passing all these great photography locations, not being able to stop and take advantage, or the weather hasn't worked when I have. So now here I am in a great location. I really do want to make the most of it. Okay. Oh, what the hell? All the way down to then find out that it's closed. Why couldn't they just tell me at the top? For fuck's sake. Okay. I mean, that's super annoying. Feels like there could have been any sign a little bit further up, but hey, at least I did get those shots further up. And the rain is coming. Okay, equipment away. That's me done. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.